Hi everyone, thanks for coming to check out my video. I make videos about OCD, autism, I interview different people, so if you do enjoy this video, please subscribe. Anyways, this video today is going to be on how to feel more comfortable sharing that you have a skin picking disorder, skin biting disorder, some body focus, repetitive behavior that's hard to accept. Oftentimes, because we feel ashamed of something we're doing, it's harder to speak about it. And there's a big stigma around biting your skin, picking at it, because people may judge you as gross and they might not understand, or they might just think you're lacking some kind of self-control. So you might fear they are going to infantilize you or treat you badly. And this makes a lot of sense because it does happen and is a real concern that people are going to treat you badly. So I don't want to encourage you to feel worse about yourself because you feel uncomfortable sharing. I've been there as well. For many years, I covered up the fact that I had a skin picking disorder. I can remember sitting in class when I was in about 8th grade with what I called dandruff on the desk, and people making fun of me because I couldn't stop scratching my head in math class. I can't remember everything that they said to me, but I remember feeling like a joke, like I was foolish for not being able to be honest that I had some kind of problem. And I didn't even really know what the problem was because I'd always defer it off till next week or next year. I'd go like, I'll find a way to get over this skin picking habit. I'll find a way, just not right now. And I never would ask for help because I thought I could just do it all on my own. And now that I've been sharing it on the internet, I've realized that even when you are open about it and share it, it's still hard to stop. So I think it starts just with having empathy for yourself and not beating yourself up for having a skin picking disorder or feeling ashamed for sharing or the idea of sharing because it's intimidating. I don't want to make people feel bad because they are having a hard time sharing. So now that I have expressed that, I can share with you what I think the best strategies are for becoming more comfortable. Firstly, I think you should start by sharing with people you really have a good connection with, who you know are going to have empathy for you. If you start by sharing with someone who is going to shoot you down and make you feel bad for sharing, I wouldn't recommend sharing with that person to start. Maybe a therapist would be a good idea to talk about these kinds of things in a confidential environment. And if you don't want to do therapy, maybe you share it with your best friend or a family member who you know will understand. Because if you get mistreated one of the first times you're trying to share about this, you might be intimidated and not share again. And I think the second thing I'd say, which is helpful for developing the strength to be open about these kinds of things, is probably just being honest with yourself in applying that empathy that I was discussing, because you just have to be aware of when you're doing it, and realizing your patterns will empower you, I believe, because once you start to see the path to lessening your skin picking disorder, you feel a little less trapped by it, and that gives you a certain kind of motivation. It's if you feel like nothing will ever change with your skin picking disorder, or there's nothing you can do, it can feel futile to share. Why would I share if I didn't feel like I could do anything to make it easier? That's a rhetorical question, because I felt that before. On some level, when I was a closeted skin picker, I guess on some level I thought I could fix it all myself. But I also felt at the same time, paradoxically, that it's just going to be the same no matter what I do or no matter what I say. So why should I bother saying anything about it? And let's see. What else do I think would be helpful? Probably being okay with failures and setbacks makes it easier to share. You don't have to feel like you are going to perfectly get rid of this compulsion, no matter what you do. Living with OCD tendencies and having these kinds of self-soothing behaviors that go wrong is something that, to a certain extent, is a lifelong difficulty, because let's just say you stopped skin picking, or I stopped skin picking. A lot of the reason I think I started skin picking was because I had undiagnosed autism and repressed stims. So instead of finding other instead of having healthier stims, I covered up my need to stim, and my body focused repetitive behaviors of picking my skin was a outlet that I did in secret. So the self-soothing needs, if you are neurodivergent in your own way, whatever that is, might be something you can't just get rid of. So you have to find a way to sublimate, or just a different outlet to best account for your self-soothing needs. So negative self-soothing behaviors are going to manifest themselves in different ways. I suppose it's just about being able to identify which ones are good for you and which ones cause you harm, and not repressing those needs. Sharing them with people sharing your OCD traits with people who aren't accepting is harder. So I think once you start accepting it, start accepting yourself, sharing it with people who are positive, and developing that mindfulness and understanding in private. Once you start doing that, it's easier to deal with mean criticism or insults when people who don't understand hear about it, or you share it and are dismissed. I think on that, for those kinds of people, it's important to completely accept that there's going to be people who are mean, even though it's hard. Because when people are cruel to me about being autistic, or they don't understand, or they have some kind of microaggression response that they don't even realize, or the same kinds of things towards my OCD, it's easier to let it go and not cling to their rudeness when you accept it fully in yourself. But I think eventually you will be able to share it even with those people. But if you haven't shared it with anyone, you should start with people who are easier to talk to. Because you might have a parent or some kind of relationship where the person's going to be mean to you, and you just have to accept on some level that there's going to be those people. They're going to be cruel. Not everyone's going to accept you or be sensitive. And doing uncloseting in the right steps and not oversharing to start when you can't handle people's cruelty will protect you from it putting you back fully into the closet and hiding your behaviors again. Because I think I've done that in the past where I wasn't comfortable sharing that I was autistic or had OCD, like enough to the point where being criticized put me back into this shame mode. Anyways, that's my video. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe and share your own thoughts.